Good morning. Good morning, moms. In this week's broadcast, I'm starting with a story. I want to share with you guys a little something that came across my purview this week that I thought would be interesting for you to hear about. So, apparently, this week was the 100th day of school for kids. So anybody out there have little ones and know what I'm talking about? I can remember when my kids were in preschool and they had their 100th day and they had to bring 100 things. This was my kids were in Montessori. They had to bring 100 items and they had to count them out and it was part of the day activity. So a lot of kids in the younger grades or in preschool have to do this. Anyway, this week I had two clients who had kids who both had 100th day celebrations in their classrooms. Now, I'm going to tell you a story about both of these moms, two completely different women living different lives, but with a lot in common. Both of them working moms, both of them the family decision makers, and both of them then lead parent at home. So when I say decision makers, I mean CEO of your family. You call the shots, you arrange the logistics, you feed the kids, you're the decision maker for how life goes with your family. Both of them have a history of anxiety, and both of them love their kids more than anything and want them to be happy and successful. So you may feel the same way about your kids. Both of them with young kids who happened to ask for a 100th day t shirt at 6 p.m. the night before they needed it for school. And these two moms had two very different experiences. So I want to share this with you. And you can tell me if any of this sounds familiar for you. The first mom, we're going to call her Vanessa. The first mom, when her kiddo asked her at dinner time the night before school, saying that he had forgotten about it. He'd forgotten to ask her before, but he was really hoping that she could make some special t-shirts because that's something that she knows how to do, that she's done before. Make some special t-shirts for him and his friends for the celebration. That he wanted to have a particular thing. He had a theme in mind, he had a vision in mind. And her reaction to being asked this the night before, and this is the first she's heard about it, was, of course, what do you guys think? How would you respond if you heard that? And I want to know, say it in the comments. I want to know from you guys, I want to hear what would your response be realistically if one of your kids asked you the night before, "Hey, can you put this together for me? Please, please, I really need your help. Please, will you do it?" Her response, her reaction was, "Are you kidding me? You've known about this for how long and you're just now asking me?" Irritation, anger, low key. You might hold it in. You might not show anybody how you feel. But there's irritation there. There's you got to be kidding me. Ugh. There's annoyance. There's feeling like I haven't even taken a break for myself today. I've worked my full day. I'm here. I'm making you guys dinner. And now on top of that, you want t-shirts. You want me to pull out, make a huge mess that you're not going to help with, that you're not going to clean up with. So this is where she's coming from. This is the energy that she's living in and how her life kind of spins. There's a sense of obligation that's automatic. I have to do it. We don't think this consciously, but where Vanessa was at is she hit a point of that she knew she was going to do it. She was going to do it, but she felt like she had to do it because she didn't want to disappoint her kid, even though she felt it was unfair. She knew it was unfair. Kids knew it was unfair to ask, but she didn't want to disappoint the kid. But she was coming from a place of irritation, annoyance, and feeling the obligation. But what that felt like for her was self-sacrifice, even martyrdom, really. And so there was a bit of a spiral there for her into like all those feelings about it, a lot of negativity, a lot of negative thinking, and then some thoughts at the end of that, like, why can't my kids just, be responsible for their things? Why can't they realize I'm a person who has needs and I'm really busy? Why can't they respect my time? Why can't I just say no? You may encounter this. You may be mad you take on more obligations than you have time for, and you may land in a place where you're really just mad at yourself. Why can't I just say no? Right? As a high achiever, this happens all the time. You overcommit, you're a high achiever, you're overcommitted. You might also be a people pleaser, problem solver type of perfectionist person, and you don't want to let anyone down. And then all of a sudden, you look at what all you've agreed to and committed to, and it is actually impossible to do it all really well. That's where Vanessa was at. And the next day, I had a call with a client who's in one of my programs, and we're going to call her Beth. And Beth opened with a celebration. We open all of our program calls with celebrations. And she opened with a celebration that her kiddos, both of them, had asked her for a 100th day t-shirt. And their 100th day t-shirt requests, especially her son's, was quite elaborate. It was really, from his big imagination, he had envisioned exactly what he wanted, and he forgot to ask, and it was the next day, but could she please do it? And this is a mom who also was into crafts, who also was works really hard for her family, and would normally appreciate a request to come in with like a week's notice because she doesn't have a lot of extra time, right? So, what was her reaction? Beth's reaction, in contrast to Vanessa's, is that she was surprised by the request. She was surprised, but then she paused to consider it. Think about what's different here. She was surprised too. They both were surprised. But then Beth actually paused to consider the request. She had space to do that inside of her. In her mind and in her body and her nervous system, she knew how to pause to consider what's going on. She assessed in that pause her bandwidth, her time, her energy, and her desire to step in and fill that request. She stopped and she assessed her bandwidth, her time, her energy, and her desire to fill the request. It was not automatic. And her kids knew that she was not automatically going to say yes because mama has boundaries. Mama knows what she can do and what she can't do. And that enables her to be much more loving with her kids. So when she noticed, like she took an inventory, she noticed she did have the energy and she had a little bit of time. She wasn't willing to stay up till midnight and sacrifice her sleep to do this project of cleaning the kitchen all night. That was just like a heck no, non-negotiable for her. But she decided she was willing to contribute to a point. Now, her kids are really young. So some might think, you might be listening and thinking like, my kids would not be able to like do the craft or the cleanup or the whatever. They're too little. But I know in my own house that I had kids, even high needs kids, from age 2, folding their laundry or prepping the dinner table, cleaning up, these kind of things. Kids love to be empowered to do these things. And she has done a beautiful job of mentoring her children and coaching her children into these, young kids who are able to be really responsible with things through our work together. So her son wanted the over the top design from his active imagination. And she said, no way, and laughed because instead of being riddled with anxiety or perfectionism like she once was when we first started to work together, she knows where her inner limit is, where her boundary is. And she also is able to be imperfect because if imperfect means she can meet her kids' desire and empower them to do the rest and get that win without sacrificing her basic needs, her sleep, her rest time for the night, then she's going to do it. She can see the way through. So think about the difference between these two moms. So with Beth, her son made a huge request and she stopped to think about if she wanted to do it. And then she was able, because she has the ability to kind of organize internally, regulate her emotions. She has the ability to slow her mind down and think through what she wants to do. She was able to say to her son, we can't do that. But what I can do for you is this. You're going to need to do this, this, and this. You're going to need to help me set up, find supplies, and then you guys are all on the cleanup. I'm done. Once I make this piece of it, then I'm out. And if you want to finish it, that's up to you. I will supervise. Her daughter wanted to line the number 100 with beads, and her mom was like, I'm not doing that part, but I will glue the felt, I will hot glue the felt number onto a t-shirt. You go find a t-shirt, I'll cut out the numbers for you and I'll glue it on, and then you get to decorate it however you want to do it. This was a beautiful compromise. It was a beautiful co-creation between her and her kids. She gave them what part she was willing to do and then handed off the rest. Now, her kids happily agreed because she's been training them for the last year. She's been training them and they've been getting better and better and better at it. She's been empowering herself to have beautiful boundaries, to know what her boundary is, to be in tune with that, and to feel zero guilt when she says, I'll do this, but not that. No way. And you know what? I would venture to say that she could have also said, today's been a rough day. You know, it's kind of taken it out of me. And this is something, it's a request I just can't fill at the last minute. No. Sounds like, no, I can't do it. And her kids would have to then metabolize that. They would have to then think about the series of choices they made leading up to that moment so that they didn't get the result they wanted. Mom is not someone we can take advantage of. Mom is not someone that we can assume will rescue us when we don't do our own due diligence. And it's never too early to start teaching our kids that. Never too early. Both of these moms are on a personal development journey. And I didn't tell you that at the beginning because I want you to kind of maybe like just really let that sink in. Both moms have invested in their personal development journey. So what is the difference? What is the difference? One of them has not invested with me. She's invested in health programs, in other programs. She's invested in improving herself, regularly reading books, listening to podcasts, hiring coaches, lots of good stuff. The other one has invested specifically in the solution to the problem that she has, which in this case is sacrificing yourself to be a mom in motherhood, sacrificing your own time, energy, bandwidth that you don't have in order to keep things going and flowing, meaning not upset your kids. That is a problem of martyrdom and self-sacrifice that if you have it, you may have invested in therapy to talk about it or in health coaches to improve your health or try to find more energy or lose weight or whatever, dealing with the symptoms of what's going on. But the cause of this particular problem that we see in this case study, the cause of that problem is actually not knowing how to say no, establish a boundary, and have a clear strategy for implementing those things with your kids to sell them on it and to get their buy-in. There is a clear strategic difference in what each of them did there. And the reason why mom number two, Beth, could have that amazing, joyful outcome with her kids and herself is that she has a strategy in how to do it. And it is the only difference. Mom number one is just as smart. Vanessa is just as capable. She loves her kids just as much. And she has invested in making herself better, happier, healthier, all those things. But what she hasn't invested in is the solution to that problem that is causing exhaustion and pain and frustration for her. And that is also costing her the enjoyment she could have with her kids right now. So I'm not even getting into like the long-term cost, which is of like being able to empower, the long-term benefit of being able to empower your kids to be self-sufficient, self-reliant, responsible. Like we get the benefit of all of that when we teach our kids that. And this is something I teach to all my clients in Awakened Motherhood. But there's a precursor to doing that. And that is to create a solid, stable, steady, calm presence within you. And that is where Beth began. That is, as Coach Laney, who's on my team, beautifully described it this week, the difference between embodied calm outcomes and awakened motherhood outcomes. These are two programs that we offer to all of our audience. And you guys are absolutely all invited to learn about these programs through coming to my free workshops, through listening to broadcasts, or to booking a call to see if it's a fit for you. If you haven't had a call about learning about these yet, then just get on my calendar now. I'm going to go ahead and drop a 20-minute free call link. This is the same one that we use for getting in touch with you and connecting with you in around workshops. So I'm going to put a little comment here to book a call with me. Here is the link. And then what I want you guys to know is that these outcomes in terms of being able to accomplish those boundaries that Beth has with her kids, or have that kind of ease in making a decision that doesn't compromise your or sacrifice your mental health or your connection with your kiddo. Because the thing that happened to Vanessa is there was no happy connection with her kid about these t-shirts. They were just kind of like an extension of negativity at that point. And then you know what happens? The kiddo feels guilty that they made their mom upset, that they screwed up. And then the kid is bearing the burden of what mom doesn't know how to take care of. And again, like, this is not anyone's fault. This is not your fault. We don't even want to blame our moms for not teaching us this. It's just a learning curve. And it's just a lack of having a strategy that works. So, the very first step of having this strategy is to build that steady, stable calm inside of you. And you are so lucky because I'm going to help you develop that in my next free workshop offer. I want all of you who are listening, who are like, I want that, to get your butt in a seat for this workshop. We have a limited number of spots, which means you need to sign up. The details are going to come to you in email, but it may go to your promotions folder. This is a way that our email tries to protect us, but it's also going to be a barrier for you getting the content. And there's nothing I can do about that piece. So it's a step you have to take. So I'm going to drop the link for this workshop. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. It's called the BodyWise Formula, all new content designed to help you to get a real grasp on this inner stability and calm that is really elusive for full-time working moms, is really elusive for moms who are super stressed from life already and being the lead parent. You have so much on your plate that if you don't learn how to find a way, I'm just going to put a little comment, register here, and you guys can find this link in the comments right now. And then as soon as you register, say I'm in the comments. So if you've registered, go ahead and say I'm in. This workshop is a 4-day workshop for free. We get together live on Zoom, and I'm going to walk you through 3 core pieces of the calm strategy. So the program that this content comes from is called Embodied Calm, and that says everything you need to know. Coach Laney described this as being embodied in your calm is like the trunk of the tree. I use a lot of these visualizations in Awakened Motherhood. The trunk of the tree is rooted, is tall, is strong, is not going to break. It may bend, but it's not going to break. And then from there, we can work on the branches. From there, we can work in the family system and changing the marriage and really like helping your kids to grow and thrive in their own coping strategies. But first, we need to develop the coping strategies within ourselves. If we hope to teach our kids anything about how to control their emotions, about how to come through a tantrum, about how to deal with their anger, about how to not yell and scream and fight with their siblings when they're angry, and instead to work it out. If we aim to teach our kids any of these things, we need to learn how to do it ourselves first, like with anything. So the solution, what Beth has in her back pocket and what is just natural to her now and second nature to her now, comes from this strategy of knowing how to live in a state that is stable, that is steady and calm and present for herself so that she can do it naturally for her kids. I am going to teach you guys these things. The reason why you want to come to this now is because your stress will drop immediately when you learn these skills. You will reduce your stress if you do the work. If you come and you do the work and you implement with me, our outcomes are so consistent with all kinds of people who come and do this work with us. No matter how busy you are, whether you have a trauma history, whether you are a single mom, a solo parent, whether you work 60 hours a week or 20 hours a week, the results we get for people are consistent because this is the strategy that I've developed over 20 years of helping moms of high needs kids. So count yourself lucky if you don't have a high needs kid, but that means the strategy is going to work even quicker for you. So if you have not taken the action yet, click the link in the comments below for the BodyWise formula free workshop. We start February 18th. We're going live on Zoom for 4 days. The last day is a Q&A and implementation of the formula. So check it out. If it looks like it's for you, sign up. If you're one of those kinds of moms that I have on the page, I've highlighted 4 types of moms that this content is particularly helpful for, and I know you'll get some big wins. Check that out. See which type you are. See if that speaks to you. Be curious to hear. Also, let me know, and then book a call with me. That's step 2. Book a call with me through the 20-minute link. And that is in the comments below as well. So I can't see your comments now, but I do want you to say I'm in right now as soon as you grab a seat and grab a spot. I want to know if you're coming. And then you will probably hear from me at some point, either through email or either through a friend request or DMs. Why? Because I want to know exactly what you need so that I can make sure to include that in the content. You know, you may be looking for a very specific type of support that I don't offer, and I can point you in the direction of someone who can help you better. If you are looking for something that's in my area of expertise and you tell me that, then we can fold that into your workshop experience and really cater the content to you. And that's where this is beautiful. You don't get that customization in most places at all. You don't get the customization of what kind of kiddo do you have? What does that kid need? What's your skill gap that you need in order to parent that kid with confidence and with ease? You deserve that. Your kid deserves that. You deserve to feel like an amazing kick-ass mom who has an incredible relationship with her kids for many years to come. For many years to come. I've been doing this a long, long time, been a clinician, a psychotherapist for 20 years, offering therapy and coaching to my clients of high needs, spirited, out of the box kids. And I know firsthand through my lived experience that there is no book, there is no shelf help, there is no parenting lesson or strategy that is going to fit perfectly for you and your kid. These kiddos are not an open book. It is not easy to decipher what they need. And that is my area of expertise. And I'm going to be bringing it to you for free in this workshop. So come so that you can ask your questions, get on the phone with me so that we can tease out what exactly you need. And I'll help you identify your skill gap. That's all it is. If you feel like you're failing at motherhood, you're not. You just need a better strategy. You don't have it yet. You haven't found it yet. Okay. So we can also talk about, if you want to talk about working together, I'm fine to go into the details for you. We can do that if or when you're ready. I am happy to talk about you enrolling into one of our programs. And that is also possible if you want to book a longer call for that so that we can really see if something's a fit for you. But just start from a place of registering for this workshop, get yourself into the content and get on my calendar for a 20-minute call. And then we're gonna identify what's the skill gap for you that's coming up that we really need to focus on, and I'll point you in the right direction of where to focus for that. Okay. All right, you guys. This has been so much fun. And I'm also just remembering that I want to let you know there are replays available. So if you you're in work, you're a teacher, you're a doctor, you're a nurse, you can't leave the hospital while we are live in session, it's fine. You can also watch the replays each day. Okay. All right. So get yourself on board for that one. And I will see you guys again soon. Let me know once you're in. Can't wait to see you there.